it's okay.
Did you go to the dominatrix before you dated her, or did you just meet her as a woman, or were you like a client first?
Yeah, in the book, there's this chapter about my brief career as a professional dominatrix. And basically, we had met in a bar, and we started dating. And I mean, this was New York in the 90s, where I feel like everyone was a sex worker. And we started dating. She told me she was a dominatrix, but she was a very gentle dominatrix.
Oh, sensual.
I learned from her that there's a hierarchy of dominatrices or dominatrixes, and she did the gentle stuff. Like, she yelled at people but didn't really hurt them. I had this other friend who I also briefly dated who was called the dominatrix of last resort.
Wow.
Meaning she did the things that all the other dominatrixes wouldn't do.
Like?
Yeah.
Not to me, because we dated,
Yeah,
so we
fair
just
enough.
would, go out to dinner and make out. But to her clients, she would all this stuff involving like razors and knives and a lot like her. All I can say is her studio had drains in it.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really great.
Wow.
But my brief career as a dominatrix, she asked me to come over to her house and pretend to be her abusive boyfriend and yell at one of her clients who was pretending to be a wig salesman refusing to leave the house. And so my dominatrix name was Master Bobby, and she paid me $1. That way I can claim I was a professional dominatrix because I got paid $1.
What did you date a prostitute for? Because that
Which
to me was.
prostitute?
Oh, you dated more than one? Yeah, no.
Again, I lived in New York in the 90s. It's like,
But you had like relationships, like while they were still working. Would they take breaks while you dated, or?
I guess it falls into that realm of stuff that you like. I guess it's don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
Like, I liked to work under the naive, self-serving assumption that if I was dating a sex worker, she wasn't actively doing sex work. But I just wouldn't ask that much. Like if like you're dating a stripper and you just hope that maybe she's just giving a few lap dances and nothing else, but like you wouldn't ask really.
Yeah.
It's their job.
Yeah, that's how they look at it. I don't know if I could. I mean, I've seen a lot of products. I don't know if I could date. I might get too jealous if I was actively dating.
Like,
while
was there ever a
she
time where she didn't want to have sex, and you're like, oh man, she probably just banged a guy like an hour ago?
That I do remember dating one woman where we were naked together and she just started crying because she had been with someone professionally right beforehand and she just felt so bad about herself. And I was sympathetic, a little frustrated, but sympathetic. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have waited till after. Fucking,
right,
for
before
the
you have your
tears show.
breakdown, right?
Yeah.
They're saying you got to go.
Yes.
But I got to ask you really fast about praying after sex. That's in the book.
Oh yeah.
That is interesting. So you'd have sex with your your girlfriend at the time was very religious, and so were you, or you are, but you look at it a little differently these days. But after sex, you guys would actually pray for forgiveness.
Yes. So I know radio's not a visual medium, but I'll just describe what I'm looking at. You're looking at me like open-mouthed with disbelief.
Right.
What's the volume?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're sort of like a sex doll right now.
Well, because I mean, you dated, dominatrix, and you have a very unusual story there, Moby.
So I had this period when I was a very serious Christian, like late 80s, early 90s, and at the time I had a very serious Christian girlfriend. And what was also funny is I was in the rave scene, in the club scene, DJing sex parties, but then teaching Bible study and trying not to have sex with my Christian girlfriend. But occasionally, we were 22 years old, we would lapse and have sex and then immediately pray for forgiveness afterwards. And then I would go DJ at a sex party. Yeah, it was...
Very interesting time.
And then 5 years... So the book is 89 to 99.
Yeah.
So like the first 5 years, I was this very serious Christian. And then the last 5 years in the book, I was just a crazy alcoholic dater of strippers, etc.
That's great. You always give me Master Bobby to me. I hope you know that.